Hi guys, how we doing? Adam here as per usual. You're going to have to excuse the views. It's a little bit kind of messy in here at the moment, but isn't it always? Myself and a few other friends, or my friends and I, we were discussing on Facebook kind of what our signature guitars would be. And Pat came up with the idea of sharing all of those views in a video and encouraging kind of your participation. So what we want is you to post below, post on Facebook. Anyway you want to post videos and we will link them from our videos of you discussing your kind of dream or signature guitar. Now a lot of us won't actually get the chance to kind of make a dream or signature guitar, but if we would, what would you do? First let's talk a little bit about kind of my friend's design. So we've got Pat. Pat is a good friend of mine in Australia. He's a classy kind of guy, a classic guy. I think he's probably going with classic Strat, a little bit of a telly twang thrown in there. I don't know, check out his video, I will link it in the description below and at the end of this video. Next we've got a good friend of mine, Nick Iwanananananananu, known to you as Nick Guitarify. We just call him Nick Guitarify because nobody really knows how to say his second name. He's pretty much got his dream guitar. Check out his video, I'm sure he'll mention it in there. It's got to be pretty close to being his dream guitar. Ryan, out in Canton, Texas, over in the States. The States obviously being that way. He is... how should I put this? He's a big lad. Interesting to see what he comes up with. I'm imagining single cut. Looking forward to see what Ryan comes up with. And another friend of mine, Rob, also out in the States. He's kind of a modern Strat kind of guy. I'd imagine he's going to be a little bit similar to mine, but possibly more hot rodded. I'm thinking Floyd, kind of similar to his Charvel Strat that's going on. But check out his video as well. See if I was right, see if my predictions kind of ring true. So what would my guitar be? Well, let's have a look. I've got two main guitars, and they're both on their way to sort of being a signature or dream guitar, if you like. I'm going to talk about a few of the kind of basic things, and then I've got a few other sort of wacky ideas that would never come off, but that I would love on a dream guitar. It's called a dream guitar, right? It doesn't have to be super realistic. So let's start with what is probably closest to being my dream guitar. So we've got my famed Sir S4. Although it's sort of like a production model, it is sort of built to order. And I did get the chance to add in a few sort of little tweaks as well when I actually ordered this several years ago. Pretty close to being my dream guitar, with just a few sort of exceptions. So if we're talking body, I'd definitely go for something like this. This is basswood with a maple cap, flamed maple on top. As my tastes have developed slightly, I'd probably go with mahogany body, but I'd definitely have the flame maple still on top. It would look awfully lot like this, very similar to this shape with the sort of belly cut away for my belly to fit in and my boobs to kind of hang over. I'd maybe like the body a tad thinner. What's that? That's probably 2 inches thick. I'm thinking maybe 1.5 inches thick would probably be ideal, just to take a little bit of that extra weight off the guitar. In terms of colour, the back, I would be tempted to leave the back as a kind of natural mahogany, maybe stained a little dark. Possibly either black or white. It would be very tricky. I think white might be really cool, so a white sort of body. And then the flame maple, I would want something like this, but orange. A kind of similar orange to Greg Howe's guitar, where it's not quite hot orange, but it's definitely orange. Clearly, as you can tell by my t-shirt and my chair here, I'm a fan of the colour orange. So that would be the body. This kind of Strat shape, maybe just shrunken down, I don't know, 4% something, I don't know. Just shrunken down very, very slightly, because this is quite a large body. In terms of bridge, I'm going to go with this kind of 2-point system, the Fender sort of classic system. I like this kind of bridge, a vintage style sort of trem. I have it more or less locked back with the springs in the back, but it's got, for the odd time I do use the whammy bar, mainly in the studio, it's got just a tiny bit of give. I'm not a fan of your massive dive bombs, just a tiny bit of give. Volume, tone, and the tone pot will be push-push. Don't like push-pull. I think in the heat of sort of battle, if you had a pull pot, you kind of adrenaline's pumping, I'm probably going to rip that pot right off the guitar there, rip the knob off the guitar. So I'm thinking push-push in order to split the back humbucker. 1 volume, 1 tone, 5-way switch. You can see where this is going. I would also probably have a pick guard as well on my guitar. Finish was really sexy, I wouldn't want to spoil that with a pick guard, but pick guards can look classy in their own right, definitely. Some sort of white pearloid, I'm thinking. Or white tortoise shell, really digging that. Hum single, again like this. The humbucker, I'm yet to find my kind of dream humbucker, to be honest. The Damasio Crunch Lab comes mighty close, but for clean it's a little bit too boomy. But possibly if I had the Damasio Crunch Lab in there with the bar on this side, and maybe I'd have the push-push, maybe if I split it on the push-push and had the kind of back coils as the single coil option, maybe that would be nice for clean tones, something to bear in mind. Middle pickup, it wouldn't fuss me too much, and I lower it quite far into the body, and I use it as almost an acoustic simulation kind of thing, so it's not as good as a piezo or piezo, or however you want to pronounce it, pickup up against the bridge here. But it has got, obviously you're backing off a lot of the kind of volume, and it's just got that open sound. You can almost hear the space between the pickup and the strings. It's a rare sound that I use, but live it's useful if you're doing some strumming, some hard strumming. And in the neck, I would probably have this. I've got this one's a Fender lace sensor, but Fender lace sensor or just lace sensor blue. In the neck, it's hotter than a single coil, but it's not a humbucker. It's smooth, it's warm, it's fat, it's everything you want for those kind of legato runs that I like. There's still enough pick definition there. I'd maybe like it a tad, just a hair hotter, just so there's not that much perceived volume drop when switching over. When we move on to the neck, I'm talking maple neck, definitely maple neck, and maple board too. I also think orange with the maple board would just look absolutely awesome. Always been a fan of maple over rosewood. I like the sort of snappier sound. I've said it a lot, I always like to have a reasonably bright and kind of spiky mid-range sounding guitar, and then you can dull it down on your amp quite easily. I find if you have a dark guitar and you want to try and brighten it up for clean tones, it doesn't work as well as having a bright guitar that you can dull down with EQ. Frets are an interesting one. I'm kind of not a massive fan of the jumbo frets, but I also don't like the super tiny vintage ones. I think the fret wire that I tend to go for is called medium vintage or something like that. Big fan of that. The inlays, I don't mind dots, but I'd probably have, you know, like you get those little sort of squares just along the top here and have a reasonably plain board. I quite like the look of a plain board. Probably toy with the idea as well of having sort of either spalted or baked maple neck. I do like the plain. I don't know if there's any real major tonal differences in kind of using spalted or baked, but I like the look of both of those things. Fender style headstock, you know what I mean. Tuning pegs definitely along the top. We've sort of taken the features of the SER, so it would be mainly kind of this S4 based with a few tweaks. Let's try not to break all of my guitars in the process. A few of the tweaks would come from this, the newest addition to the family, the Ibanez SV470. Straight away, first thing you notice, gold hardware on both those guitars. It's kind of a thing. I think an orange guitar with possibly a white back, gold hardware would just look absolutely lush. It would be definitely sort of cheesy and overindulgent looking guitar, but it would be cool nonetheless. We're talking both these guitars again, similarity 22 frets. There's just something about 22 frets. I don't know what it is about clagging 2 frets on the end. I just don't like it, and I found that when I've had 24 fret guitars, I only kind of use the first 22. I've had a few 21 fret guitars, but I don't know what it is, just something about 22 frets. That's kind of for me. As you can see, this body's a lot thinner than the SER. I'd like it, this is probably maybe an inch, just over an inch in the thickest spot. I would like it thicker than that. I would like it to be about 1.5 inches, as I said. So it's got a substantial weight, but not over the top. This annoys me, the kind of Fender position of output jack. It annoys me. It's, oh God, it's annoying. I much prefer sort of where the SERS is, sort of down on the bottom there, maybe even round a little bit higher. So you put it through your strap, right angle plug in, and it's kind of not going anywhere. This is cumbersome for me. It's annoying. My absolute favourite thing about the SV470, and something that would absolutely have to be replicated on my dream or more signature guitar, is this neck profile. I have never played this neck profile until I got this guitar. And as soon as I put my hand on it, I was like, yeah, this is where it's meant to be. It's what they call the Viper neck tape, or Viper neck profile, and they don't really do it anymore. In fact, I don't think they do it at all anymore. And it's maybe a really soft V, but it's quite thin. So on the SER, I opted for a modern C shape, or modern flat C, I think it is, and it's maybe a little too thick for me. It's not a full-on baseball bat, and I can definitely still get my hand around it and play. I'm less tired using this slightly thinner Viper neck profile as I am the slightly larger C shape of the SER. We would have to replicate that neck profile, definitely, or have something mighty close. The tuning pegs here. So on the SER, they lock from behind, your standard kind of locking tuners where you screw them like this. On the Ibanez, they lock on the top. You jam a penny or a screwdriver in there and you lock it on the top. I don't know what it is about that, I just thought it was quite cool. I think on my signature guitar I'd probably go for the SER style, the simple lock behind the head, because it's it's easier to get access to should you need to quickly change your string mid-gig or whatever. So I think that pretty much covers my dream guitar. It would be, as you guys would probably imagine, very similar to the Sir with a few of the sort of Ibanez-isms in there. Now, for an absolute dream feature, and this would likely not be possible unless you had some sort of super big neck like that, thick. But hey, this is a dream guitar, right? It doesn't have to be totally realistic. What would be cool, I would want a button somewhere, I don't know, somewhere just in between the knobs here maybe, that I pressed it and the frets all lowered into the guitar, but at the perfect height, so it essentially became a fretless guitar. How awesome would that be? Now I know the logistics of that are nigh on, probably impossible without having square frets and stuff, which would sound awful. Nigh on impossible, but that would be an absolute cool dream feature. Press a button there, within a second the frets descend into the neck at just the right height to become a fretless. And then back to normal guitar. That would be absolutely cool. So that's it. That would be the Ironside Guitars signature sort of super strat, modern strat guitar. I would absolutely love something like that. So what I want you guys to do, definitely get involved, whether that's posting below, link us to a blog post, or make your own videos discussing what your signature guitar or your dream guitar would be. The more the merrier, and absolutely crazier the better. If you wanted your guitar to have an awesome beard, kind of like ZZ Top guitars, then that would be absolutely awesome. A bearded guitar would be pretty manly. I'm thinking that should be a feature on my mate Ryan from RNA Music. His guitar should definitely have a beard to go with his beardy face. That is a wonderful, wonderful beard. Yeah, so check out my friends' videos. We got Rob, we got Pat, we've got Nick Ayananananananu, and we have my main man Ryan. So check out all those videos, guys. I hope this has been interesting and informative. Please do get involved. Take it easy.